Thank you, President. I plan to keep my condolence motion quite succinct today for a number of reasons. One, as Ms Shing mentioned, it's quite an emotional topic to be standing here doing a condolence motion, particularly given that the fires had an enormous and devastating effect in my electorate of Northern Victoria also. But I also realise and respect that there are other speakers who are waiting to do their condolence motions as well. But I'd also like to acknowledge and reiterate the sentiments that have been expressed here today by everybody in the chamber. It has been lovely to stand here and listen to such eloquent condolences. So it is with great sadness that I stand here today to pay respect to those who lost their lives, either whilst performing their duties to save others' lives and properties, or whilst protecting their own homes here in Victoria during what has been a shocking fire season throughout our state. Bushfires have a devastating effect on our land, communities and animals, with the ultimate devastation being the loss of lives. To the families of David Moresi, Bill Slade, Matt Kavanagh, Mick Roberts and Fred Becker, I send my deepest condolences. I can only imagine that this must be an incredibly difficult and traumatic time for you all. My words here today will sadly not heal your pain, but I hope with the love and support from family, friends and your community, you will be able to take comfort from those who surround you in your time of need. This is a heartache that you never expect to happen when a loved one walks out the door and doesn't return. And recovering from such a tragedy can be an extremely painful and lengthy, lifelong journey. To the families in New South Wales, South Australia and the ACT, I also wish to send my heartfelt condolences to their families who have lost loved ones or for the stress and devastation these fires have caused. I would also like to acknowledge the serious impact these fires have on townships, communities and our wildlife, who have all suffered terribly in the past few months. This will take years before the recovery is completed, and my electorate of Northern Victoria has experienced a disaster which we hope will never be repeated. I praise the courage and commitment of all firefighters, emergency services personnel and first responders in protecting our state, and for those who have volunteered in any capacity. I express my sincere gratitude to all those assisting in the recovery, as I know many of you must be completely exhausted. As Minister Symes stated earlier, she mentioned Wangaratta, my hometown, and the incredible sharing of kindness that we saw, the gratitude that we have from the generosity of people who travelled up from Melbourne, who brought truckloads of food and prepared and cooked meals, who went up to support firefighters who they didn't believe were being fed. They put on a concert. They have done so much in our time of need, and I would sincerely like to thank them. We had another group of psychologists and counsellors who travelled up to the Relief Centre in Wangaratta, and they provided what was a child-safe space. That space was so important to the children who had been evacuated from their towns, who needed that normalising of their day, and it also provided an opportunity for parents to be able to have adult discussions with other adults without subjecting their needs and concerns in front of their children. I also opened my office up, and the generosity of people within our community was incredible. I had no idea of what to expect, and I have to say I was extremely humbled. My staff and I delivered 7 carloads and 2 truckloads up to Food Share. we could not clean our office out quick enough from travelling those 45 minutes up to Wodonga, then unloading, then travelling back. As soon as we got back, my office would be completely full once again. So the generosity of people was absolutely astounding. I'd also like to take this moment to thank the councils in my electorate of North East Victoria, as I know that they opened their doors and provided whatever form of support they could to all those within our communities. I'd also like to give thanks to all who joined us from overseas. It is wonderful to see the reciprocation of support at this time, and your efforts to join us over this lengthy fire period is certainly greatly appreciated by all. Unfortunately, 3 of your comrades will sadly not return home, and for that, I feel extremely saddened. Once again, I send my sincere, heartfelt sympathy to all the families affected by the loss of these 5 men. Rest in peace, gentlemen. You will certainly not be forgotten. But ending on a final note, I would also like to bring up something that concerns me greatly, is that for arsonists who have started some of these fires throughout Australia, it is an act of disgraceful behaviour, and I certainly hope that you will be caught and held accountable for the devastation and trauma that you have created to innocent people's lives.